Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Faria. I am a security sales engineer for Cisco, and today I will be showing a Cisco Duo demo. Now, just as a refresher, Duo is a user or identity centric zero trust security platform that includes two factor authentication with a lot more security. It has the ability to protect access to sensitive data by verifying the user identity, by establishing device trust, and by making sure that there is a secure connection to company resources. Now, may I ask a few discovery questions before we get started with the demo? Okay, thank you. So, what are your top security initiatives when it comes to zero trust? Do you have any kind of compliance within your company that requires a multi-factor authentication solution? Do you currently have a multi-factor authentication solution that you're using now? How do you feel about personal devices and having employees bring their personal devices onto your network? Okay, I really appreciate the honesty and your answers to those questions. So, you did mention that you don't allow personal devices onto the network, and I must agree that's a very standard policy to have. So, what would happen if a user were to try to access your network on a personal device? Well, in this example, we have Lee trying to access his a company application using his company credentials on a personal device. And we can see that this request has been denied by Duo, and it's very clearly stated that you're not allowed because you're using a personal device. So Duo is able to, check either the certificate, or there might be a Duo client, or there's a registration process that the user has to do in order to register the devices with us. And if those requirements are not met, then the device isn't able to join the network. Simply stated. Okay. Now let's pretend that the user now is trying to log in to that same Microsoft application on a company device. However, they run into this other hiccup. And here it says that the Chrome browser hasn't been updated. And it also states the number of days. So it says 14 days is how long you have to update your Chrome before you're not allowed to access the network. Now, if I went the option to see how I would update, I'm given very clear instructions and a really helpful video on how a user can ultimately self remediate their device. I can follow these instructions here myself, and I can see that I've just updated Chrome, and now I'm going to relaunch. And now that my device has been deemed secure, I'm now receiving a notification on my mobile device, which is a simple push notification, and that is the user. And so I've approved it, and now I will approve the browser, and the user is now able to access this application. Lastly, I have the user trying to access a company application, uh, which we've just seen similarly done. We've been sent a push request, which is one of the easiest ways to approve. But all of a sudden, let's simulate a malicious activity, right? So in the middle of an upgrade, the user's phone starts to vibrate or notify the user that there's a push notification sent. Now, the user doesn't necessarily see the push notification in this instance, but the, the, the hacker is persistent and there's another push notification sent. Now, this isn't something that the user triggered. So the user might not necessarily know to identify that as suspicious on the first try, but by the second time around, the user is getting more suspicious, right? And so here we can see that this new multi-factor request now consists of a verification code. So what Duo is doing in the background is Duo is identified this as risky behavior and is now asking for a higher tier of security verification before the user is allowed to access the network. And this time around, the user is identifies that there's something suspicious going on, so they're not going to um, allow that request to go through, and it's going to identify this as suspicious. And now the Duo administrator has been notified of this harassment attack. So, what we've just witnessed in these three short demos is we witness Duo block a personal device from entering your network. We saw that even with a company device, there might be compliance policies that the user might need to um, obtain before they're able to access the device. And if they don't have the required compliance, there's very easy self remediation steps on how to get the user and that device trusted. And finally, we saw a hacker trying to uh, you know get access to company resources by hijacking an identity, and both Duo and the user were able to identify that as an anomaly and were able to identify the administrator as well as block that connection from accessing the network. At this time, if you have any more questions, I would be more than happy to take them. But thank you so much for your time today.